Okay.
Cool. I'll just start. I think it's around 5 minutes now. So yeah. So today I'm going to cover about uh, how will AI boost developer productivity. Uh, can everybody see my slides? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I mean, how will AI boost productivity? Especially like I'm going to focus on like software engineers and developers, and how can AI actually help us? I mean, improve our productivity in different fields. Um, yeah. So a quick introduction about me. I'm working in Meta right now, and I'm working in App Ads. So App Ads, this org is optimizing for the number of installs which you have. Let's say if you're a game developer and you develop your app, and then you can advertise on Meta platforms, and then we kind of create engines to match your gaming apps or like any sort of different app to the right audiences, and then increasing the number of installs. And we, like, my team contributes to 10% of the overall ads business, which is roughly around 10 to $15 billion. I was previously employed with Amazon, and I was working in Prime Video. I have co-founded my startup as well, and then I worked on both. Like, I started with a Series A funded startup, um, and then, I mean, I worked with D Shaw as well for a very short while. I was a quant analyst there, and then I moved to like more product focused companies in the mid of my career. Off work, I love playing cricket and chess, and mentoring and teaching is something which I'm really passionate about. And I'm actually available on different platforms as well. So if, let's say, you need any other sort of structured mentoring, feel free to kind of reach out to me on Codementor or other platforms as well. Cool. So the agenda for today is how like AI helps in coding, and then what are the different productivity tools in testing, then deployment and monitoring, and then what are the futures, and then how can we adapt to kind of AI in using our coding and day-to-day developer activities. And then, like, I'll just summarize all the key takeaways, and then we'll have a Q&A round as well. So, yeah, I mean, for the introduction, software systems have become increasingly complex with trends like microservices, distributed computing, and the scale of data being processed, especially the scale at which like these big MNCs work. It's actually quite huge, and everybody is on internet. Everybody wants to kind of use apps and other stuff. So there's a huge lot of data, and then when there's a lot of data problems with challenges with scale also comes. Developer productivity is crucial for delivering innovative products faster. However, developers spend significant time on repetitive tasks like boilerplate coding, debugging integration issues, manual testing, etc. This reduces the time available for strategic work like design, architecture, optimizing efficiencies. Emergence of techniques like machine learning, NLP, conversational AI present huge opportunities to augment and assist developers. Um, AI can automate repetitive coding, testing, and deployment tasks, and developers can focus on solving complex problems and innovating instead of tactical work. And then there was a study by Gartner which says like 50% of enterprises will use AI assisted development by 2023. Yeah, I mean, in summary, basically, what what I'm trying to say over here is that AI in the recent time, like the breakthroughs in AI, for example, in chat GPTs and other chatbots, the amount of repetitive tasks which these with these bots can do is huge. I mean, they can literally reduce your repetitive tasks and can help you focus on more innovative and complex issues, instead of just focusing on like repetitive things which we have been keep on doing. And in the follow-up slides, I'll give you like more specific examples of what exactly this means. So, like now in terms of coding, let's say there's a lot of platforms which gives us code completion and prediction. For example, Tab9 and GitHub Copilot. So what they do is, like, let's say if you integrate GitHub Copilot in any of the code bases, it will just help you understand like what the code is doing right now. Like it will help you summarize the business logic of the code, and then it will also start generating code automatically based on what like the code has been uh, in the other files. Understanding those structures and those patterns, whenever you write something, it will just try to complete the whole code. I mean, it's very similar to something which we do, like which we have seen on Gmail. So when we start typing, it will give you some prompts like hi, and then the person's name whom we are mailing to, and then let's say when we are composing some lines, it will help you frame the whole sentence. Similarly, like these code completion tools can automatically complete the whole codes for you, and the precision and accuracy is really really good. And then there's advanced linting and debugging. So there's an AWS service which is called Amazon Code Guru, and then there's Deep Code as well. So what they do is they, if you plug these services in your code, they will help you identify the test cases which you can write, and then they will help you like what kind of bugs are there, unused variables and insecure code, some dangling point like variables which are used here and there. And basically they will help you to analyze like more intelligent debugging recommendations. Again, like Code Guru also gives you automated code reviews and pull requests. I mean, one of the very cool features which I came across was so based on your code, your code. Let's say you raised a pull request, and then what will happen is it will analyze your changes and then give you a severity number, which basically means that how much likely or like how impactful is this code is, and how likely is this code, if there's any bug in this code, then and if it's pushed, then how likely is it is to cause an issue in the production. So it gives you like, I mean, a green, yellow, red sort of a signal that this needs more attention while code reviewing, this needs okay attention based on the lines which you're touching in the code. Reviewing code changes for style defects and anti-patterns, freeing up developer time from manual code reviews. So yeah, I mean, I typically, I mean, let's say if I am doing code reviews, I have to spend approximately 15 to 20 minutes or more in going through like one CR. And let's say if you are having these tools, uh, you can probably reduce that time by half. And yeah, it's still debatable like how much trust you can put in into these tools right now. But yes, I mean, the obvious issues which you might not be able to kind of detect and or might miss, they can just like flesh out those things in front of you. So that's really great. Then there's faster search and documentation. I mean, I think this is a very common use case which I've been seeing uh, being implemented across many companies. Faster search and documentation. For example, GitHub semantic search, bit.ai, and then they would improve the code search relevance using ML. So, I mean, I'm not sure if you have seen Google also. Like, if you go and search on Google, there's another section which comes up and then it recommends you like few things, few websites, and then you can converge on Google Chrome itself. So it's very similar to this. Instead of having like a whole repository where you store all your documentations and everything, it's more like tell me something about this particular tool, and then you don't have to search across these files. It will just tell you in a more question answer form. And then reduced repetitive coding. Again, I mean, it will help you identify repetitive code, and then you can merge them together in one clicks. It will help you identify like what kind of abstractions you can use, what kind of design patterns you can use, and then you can just apply the same. So these are huge benefits. I mean, these are like game changing benefits right now. And I mean, personally in Meta as well, all of these things are being like researched upon, and we have been using these models on a day to day basis. And still, I mean, we are training these models so that they become better unless and until when we roll out. So this is huge. Then another section is automated testing, AI generated test cases. As I said, like you can actually use functionize and app wins, and then you can generate these test cases from requirements, provide comprehensive test coverage more quickly. And then there's like app. little tools and test.ai, which actually gives you like a visual testing tools to adapt on like you can see all those changes on UI as well, and then you can just click, and then all those changes will be automatically applied to your code changes. Let's say there is this big bucket or GitHub or something, and then you can just see like, okay, can you this is one of the suggestions, apply it, and then once you click on like the arrow, and then it will automatically be applied, and a diff would be raised. Then auto healing broken test, then like I mean debugging broken tests, and improving the test suite resiliency, and reducing the maintenance overhead. And then this is simulating user scenarios. So this is again like one of the very cool features. Basically, let's say if you're writing unit test cases, or acceptance test cases, or integration tests, then it will generate different user scenarios which you need to be covering in order to make your code more robust. And then, I mean, you can just kind of tweak them a little bit, or maybe say that, okay, I've already covered these test cases in some other way, but then it just lays out all the different edge cases which might be possible and you might miss out. Faster testing with less effort, and this is just a start. Like the testing time actually reduced by 70 to like 50 to 70% per like one of the reports from McKinsey. Optimizes cycles to meet coverage goals, minimizes repetitive and redundant testing. uh, yeah, so it's actually transforming testing from a manual bottleneck to an automated accelerator in the development of lifecycle. I'll just stop if there's any questions. Yeah, so moving on, deployment and monitoring. So we have covered up like what are the advantages in coding. We have covered up what are the advantages in like testing. And now, I mean, the next stage is kind of when you're deploying code, and then once you deploy the code, then how will you like monitor this? So there are huge advantages of AI in deployment operations and monitoring as well. For example, like if you use Microsoft Cloud Ops and OpsRamp, and then they use reinforcement learnings to optimize release patterns. I mean, they would see like what kind of patterns were there which kind of cause some sebs, and then you can and basically there would be like some sort of, as I said, like scoring based on the changes or the lines which you're touching in the code, and then it will tell you that, okay, I mean, this is kind of very risky or low risky, or this is medium risky, something of that sort. Detect failures and automatically roll back, reduces deployment issues by up to 90%, and then saves hours of engineering time per deployment cycle. Anomaly detection, for example, Mooksoft, Big Panda. So it's like, let's say there's some anomalies in your matrices, or your logs or traces. So it can detect those anomalies, and then it can identify potential problems before they cause downtime. And they can also suggest that you can, let's say, based on the previous patterns, or based on your like let's say you put up an alert, and then basically that alert you need to tune. Like many a times when you put up an alert, that alert is not tuned correctly, and then you have to keep on like doing some experiments like with the tuning of that. So it can tell you based on the previous runs as to what numbers or thresholds you should be putting, so that we get less number of alerts and the right set of alerts. So these kinds of anomalies it can detect, and then it's actually useful. I mean, I've seen like myself, I've invested a lot of time trying to tune an alert or like creating a monitoring dashboard, and then later on when like some issue comes up, then we figure out that this kind of alert we had actually forgotten, or we had not put up a dashboard for this particular kind of use case. So if we can like have some help, I think that's great. Root cause analysis. So this is interesting. I mean, it kind of basically reduces, or it helps you detect the root cause by correlating the events from the past, and then saying that, okay, this might be something to do with this, or maybe like we have seen this pattern in the past, and then maybe this kind of an issue is there. Then it reduces the minimum time to respond by 30 to 40%, and then it reduces the wartime efforts as well. So war room is basically, let's say if there is a very high priority issue which is causing some, let's say, some huge loss to an org or a company, then like the experts come in together, and then they create a war room, and then they try to handle or like quickly mitigate that issue as soon as possible. So that's called a war room. And basically, so I mean, in the nutshell, like basic root cause analysis, if as quickly as you identify the root cause, that will directly translate to reducing the war room time as well. Reduced alert noise. Yeah, I just covered this particular thing in my previous point as well. So it helps to be able to tune the alert properly, and then reduce the alert noise. I mean, nobody wants to get up 2 a.m. in the night via alert, and then and then figure out at 5 o'clock in the morning that it was just a false alert, and then you don't need to be doing anything. Yeah. I mean, Amazon, when I was in Amazon, that used to happen a lot. And I used to figure out, oh, I mean, this is some other team's issue, and then we got paged because of that. Um, yeah, it's very annoying. Um, Now, I mean, paired programming with AI. So, I mean, I've already talked about GitHub Copilot. So they help you. So they are basically like a pair programming sort of tool where, like, I mean, pair programming have been very helpful for me personally when I was starting up coding, because then you can sit with somebody who is an expert, and then you can code, and then they can guide you where you're going wrong, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I treat these chatbots as somebody who are experts, and then they can guide you and 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 guide you with the correct set of practices which you need to be following. Make developers more productive on complex tasks, frees them to think creatively versus implementation details. Conversational coding, I think this is a new thing, but like if you would have seen chat gpt, there's a voice option as well now, and you can actually talk to chat gpt, and then you can like whatever you were typing, and like doing question and answers by typing it, you can just like now speak, and then it will just process whatever you're speaking, and then write you the answer. So it's more like voice commands and conversations, clarify requirements, debug issues by talking to an AI agent, more intuitive than typing code syntax, and natural language is greater than programming languages. Yes. Automated code generation quickly builds standalone components like CRUD forms, workflows. I mean, you can actually create websites also. So developers focus on core app capabilities, rapid prototyping, and 80% faster development. Focus on design and innovation. One of the most important and useful or advantages of AI has been like not doing the repeatable code again and again, and thinking or like about more creative and innovation ideas, rather than just like doing the same things, copy pasting again and again in your code. Yeah, so key takeaways. I think AI is transforming every stage of software development, whether it be coding, testing, deployments, monitoring, then putting up alerts. Automating repetitive and low cognition tasks enables developers to focus on more strategic work. With AI assistance, developers see boosts in productivity of 50 to 70%, and this is a very this is a huge number. I mean, if let's say AI can help you be productive by 50 to 70%, I think that's a good ratio. Development cycles become faster while maintaining quality and stability. Testing evolves from a bottleneck to an accelerator with intelligent test automation. Deployments, operations, and monitoring becomes automated and insightful with AI. I think um, this is another thing which I've seen. Like mostly, what happens is like when you're working on a feature on a project, then you would want to build the logic very quickly. But then when it becomes, then there's another part of that whole like task, which is to create testing and deployments and operations and monitoring, so that I mean that's like the whole development cycle, right? And many engineers kind of don't feel like working on these kinds of aspects, which comes to better engineering practices. So so this is like a very helpful thing when it comes to if it can be automated, and then it can automatically generate some insights, uh, and then you can just focus on building up the core logic and just the good part of the whole task. The future will have AI co-pilots to augment developers with coding, debugging, and design. I think this is very evident right now as well. In most of the IDEs which you will be using right now, whether it be Java, Python, PHP, or whatever, like they're already integrated or like are integrating with AI co-pilots, and then once you start typing anything, it will kind of complete that, and then designing as well. I mean, how the whole structure of the code looks like, what kind of design patterns you should be using, whether it's an abstraction, all the OOPS principle you can apply. So those sort of things. Uh, yeah, AI is the most impactful opportunity to boost developer productivity since the rise of DevOps. Truly, I mean, I think DevOps, for example, kind of touches these aspects of coding, and now you can just automate or maybe like help or take help from AI in all those aspects. And these are not very easy things to understand as well, to be honest. Like because I've personally worked on AWS, and uh, I mean, I used to be very comfortable writing code in Java or Kotlin, but when it used to come to deploying my application on cloud or understanding what's um, cloud auth or things of that nature, I would always have to read up a lot and then be able to like write 2 lines of code. So I think in that particular aspect, if let's say I had some kind of an AI tool which could tell me, okay, this is where this is how the structure should look like, and this is how you can write the code, that would have been really helpful and reduced my time a lot. Yeah, so that's the end of it. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
So I have one question
Yeah,
regarding
sure.
the AI tools. The companies are still very apprehensive in adopting them. For example,
Mhm.
I work for Cloud Software Group, and the company is not allowing the developers to use any AI tools like Copilot, um, and the most I can do right now is use ChatGPT to write basic Python scripts. Okay, tell me how to add certain number of users to Active Directory. So it has helped me to reduce time to spend, like, rather than spending 1 hour to figure out a script, I'm spending 5 minutes. But
Hmm.
that's it. It is not actively helping me as a in pair programming or anything like that. So I just wanted to check with you, how is Meta doing things, and other participants, how their companies are tackling with this apprehension towards their proprietary code.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think so. I'm not sure like how is it working in your company, but basically, like when you come to big companies, generally they have their own um, AI, sort of like to be able to, which replicates something which GitHub Copilot or other tools do. Um, yeah, but I think the point is that this is very evident in the near future that all of the big IDs, let's say, even if you're writing Java or if you're writing Python, these are all open source things, right? There's nothing proprietary about this. So I mean, all of these tools would come into play, and let's say if like these companies also, there will be some enterprise solutions um, where you can plug GitHub and then start making it like basically it will learn how your code performs, and then it will learn the patterns and then start suggesting you those different things. That's my I think frame of mind right now. And at Meta, like we do have internal tools which actually have helped a lot, and they can actually generate your whole files, your whole piece of logic. So you just have to think about what you need to be writing, and then the syntax and the whole building blocks is taken care by AI itself.
Awesome. And that's what I like about companies like Meta and Amazon. They tend to internally develop such tools, um, and help the developers. So that's nice to hear. And I think products like Copilot for Business is coming to the market that might help the developers like us that are, in my situation. Thank you.
Sure.
So I have a question. So thanks for sharing the information. Uh, as I'm beginner in my career, so like sometimes I need to like, check the codes or write the prompts to get the better code. So there is some problem that sometimes I used to get very lazy in understanding code and then put that code and then do the work like whatever it is giving. So like first question is that like is it also going to impact my career because sometimes we are not having the experience like what we are getting from the chat gpt, so we are
Mhm.
taking it and then we are doing our work. So we are not getting the experience whatever the previous developer had by writing and fighting with the code and bugs all that. So first question that like should I also what uh, like what scenario I should take to be more productive and to be more knowledgeable person after getting help from the AI.
So I think if I understand your question correctly, it's more like, as a beginner, how would you start learning about like different AI tools and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I mean, there are many platforms available on the net, so you can um, kind of go to Coursera or edX or DeepMind.ai. Then there's this course by Andrew Ng as well, which is great. Then there's like different subreddits on Reddit, which are, I mean, really cool. There's a lot of YouTube channels as well, which you can read. Like just, I mean, in your free time, you can just like go through them. Um, I can recommend some books as well. I mean, which you can actually start. But other than that, I think there was another question, which was how, I mean, where to draw a line where, let's say, you keep on asking ChatGPT to be able to doing something versus how much you learn yourself, right? I think that happens all the time, like, because it's very easy to just kind of go there and start like directly asking um, the exact questions. I think that there's no right or wrong answer, to be honest. But my thought process over here is to think of these tools as your um, helpers, or your, like, your, I mean, you can't, you shouldn't cheat with these things, right? Like, it's more like they're there to help you out understand a specific problem or a strategy or your approach to learning something. um, and you can ask simple questions also, like the one which you asked me, if I have to develop my core expertise in ML and AI, what kind of tools I should be, what I should start following. So things of that nature. And 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 also, we need to keep in mind that this is not going to replace software engineers, at least in the near future. So it's not like, I mean, when you are interviewing, you can actually start using ChatGPT to be able to answer your questions. I mean, or let's say when you are in a company in a meeting, it's your knowledge, and how much you know yourself to be able to kind of drive those things. So these are only support mechanisms as of today, which is helping you. So I like to think of these tools like that. I hope this answers your question.
okay, yeah, thank
Sure. I kind of have a question.
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say your last comment about the coding interviews with the
Yeah.
chat. It came out just as I was interviewing with I don't know, some companies, and I was like, "This is my secret tool." And but it's like these they ask these questions that are so it's like it has nothing to do with what you're actually doing. So I don't know. I wonder. I don't need to ask what's changed. I'm not really curious about that, but Sure, I'm sure it's changed because I can literally talk. They ask these questions, and I can literally talk into the Chat GPT, and it'll give me the freaking answer, and I just copy and paste it.
Yeah.
So you must do something different, but I don't. That's not my question. Um, the one I'm curious about. Uh, a lot of these things are language agnostic that you were mentioning.
Hmm.
That's so I work in a obscure language. I work with BrightScript, and ChatGPT does not do well. It's just bullshit when it gives me.
Hmm.
There are there any and it's doing really well in Python. Python's like popular, right? So,
Hmm.
uh, is there? I kind of would like to, get.
Have good support on that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure it's not because I know it's not because there's no support for BrightScript on the internet. But are you aware of like language centric ChatGPT type of things?
To be honest, no. I mean, I think this is a whole sort of like research in itself. I think on a very general note, I can just say that maybe like Python's data is more readily available, and that's why it's trained better. And as compared to like something which your language is, then maybe it doesn't have. I mean, I was reading the other day that it gave some incorrect facts when and then they had to correct themselves that okay, this is just modeled using 2021 data or 22 data, something like that. So I mean, it actually, so I covered that in my previous talk as well, that there are some limitations to these chatbots as of today, and they may not be like factually correct as well. So that's another like limitation of these bots right now. And even if you ask some questions, they would just give you like um, a very generic answer or something like that if they don't understand it correctly. And the more you kind of keep asking them, they won't change. I mean, so it's also based on your prompts which you're putting in, how accurate and how precisely you are giving those prompts to them, and then how they are generating those answers to you.
It actually, you could be very specific and very direct,
Hmm.
and it'll give you an answer that it feels very it's like very confident. It's
Hmm.
confidently wrong, a lot, and it's just where you compare it, and it is what it is, right? It's fine,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't need it. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just I don't know. There's certain obscure things would be nice, like or even with Python. So I'm looking on a personal project. I'm trying to just query the inventory on my item on the Stripe API, and I'm like I'm running into a wall, and I'm trying to and it's I asked the question to ChatGPT, and it's very confidently wrong. So so it's like anyway, it is what it is. So
Yeah.
it's cool. I was just
Yeah, I
wondering
mean,
about
that's why we shouldn't trust like 100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you run it and see what happens, and like
Yeah.
I mean, we have a background in it, so we know it's bullshit. So we're able to see through it. So it just be great. But what you shared was pretty cool. I took some screenshots. Can you share your slides? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, sure, sure. I will just put them in the like my chat, or like on the event talk. I will just put the slides as well.
Cool. Is that standard procedure?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I generally share my slides. That's not a problem.
Got it. No
Yeah,
problem. Thank you.
cool.
Thanks. Great time.
Awesome. Yeah, I will just take like a quick look at the chat questions. I can't see the text. Okay. So there's a question like, but how the new improvements GPT can see, hear, and thinking can add developers task duties. To be honest, like I didn't get the question. Like I'm not sure if GPT can see and see right now. I think it can hear and think, but I'm not sure like if it can see as well.
I think he wants to say, because right now we can only text on the chat GPT. So he wants to say like what are the new improvements, like if chat GPT
Oh,
can
okay, okay.
see or hear, like you said earlier that we can also voice, and then it will
Yeah,
help.
I mean, who knows? Like we can just say, right? this particular code, or maybe like just read this task and complete my task, like something like that. I don't know. Like maybe something like that can happen as well. Uh, yeah, cool. I'm not sure about Project IDX. Uh, I'm also not sure about like IntelliJ IDE provides some AI assistant tools right now or not. Yeah, you can go to the events page of Codementor and then just see like there's all the recordings there, and you would find recordings from um, other people as well who have given talks.
So I have another question about, like,
Hmm.
I have been hearing about prompt GPT, like prompt engineering, and I'm using the chat GPT, like, although, like, the basic thing, like, you have to give the role and then it will give the more correct answer. And I also have seen that if you give, a big prompt, so it will sometimes give you like a wrong answer, and in between sometimes it forget what you said in the prompt. So do you have some, rules or some quick techniques that we can get uh, by writing with the rules, so that it can give the most accurate answer as per his capability?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things which has worked for me is to write breathe and then think and answer. So that works. I don't know like what it does internally, but that definitely works. Yeah, but on a serious note, I mean, I think it's more likely to just kind of keep, um, let's say you give some high level description and then it gives you some answer and then you tweak it more and then you tweak it more, and then you can also ask GPT itself that, if I have to do something, what are the most common prompts which people are using to be able to do this or something like that. So I think you just have to play with it for a while, and then it just kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, okay. One just last question, like, because ChatGPT is only trained on the previous data, it's trained till 21 data. So, is there any like module that is coming, that is out there, that have, the updated data, and it can uh, give you answer on the updated data as well?
So I think GPT already has a premium version. Like it has 4.0. That's like you have to pay for it,
Yes, yes.
and then there's another one which is Claude.ai. So this was made by Thrope. So I use
Sorry,
this as
sorry.
well.
Can you?
Claude, like Claude, CLAU. I'll just mention
Okay,
this.
see, cloud.
Yeah, this one. So this is also like a free tool which you can use, and I think yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so this is also pretty good. I mean, I mostly use Claude or ChatGPT, no more than that.
Okay, okay, thank
Awesome. I'll just finish this off then. Thank you, everybody, for joining the call. Um, yeah, if there's any questions, feel free to just reach me out on the platform, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.